What's up, co-counsels? I'm not my chaotic self today, okay? I had some dental work done. I don't feel too good, but I'm trying to be consistent, so I'm up here. All right, let us get into today's proceedings. I did not watch today at all, so I don't exactly know what we're about to get into, but let's get into it. Yes, this is a pickup from yesterday. The parties have to argue their positions.
Your Honor, I am
Hey,
going
all three of these people look alike. These two switch positions.
to address the Trooper Paul aspect, and then I'm going to address the Dr. Scorty Bello aspect of Dr. Welcher.
What's up, Angie?
With regard to
How are you?
Trooper Paul, I would like to draw the court's attention to the following documents for the straightforward proposition that Dr. Welcher has not only reviewed, he has not only considered, that he has adopted. I went back and looked at the documents, and the basis for this is as follows.
I know what the court's ruling will be. Again, I did not watch the portions or the substantive portions at great length. I did not see anybody complaining on Reddit, so I'd like to assume that probably means that the judge found in favor of Alessi, or maybe the judge has not ruled. The judge would have ruled though, because Welcher was back on the stand today.
Slides 22 and 23 do not just depict Trooper Joseph Paul himself. They show Trooper Paul conducting the CARS analysis on February 1st of 2020.
All right, Benji, thanks for tuning in. Don't get fired. Nah, I told you I don't have money to give you. So keep your job.
22.
Thanks for tuning in.
Importantly, these slides highlight the mileage odometer of 12,665, and I respectfully request the court to anchor into that odometer reading, because I'm going to show the path that that odometer reading takes through all of the documents, but I want to emphasize the start, the genesis of the odometer reading of 12,665 miles is with Trooper Paul as he conducted the CARS analysis on February 1st. Now, here's where
That's what I've been curious about. I wanted to know exactly how the Commonwealth plan on ending its case in chief. Do they have any more? They're always clips, but I'd like to know, as far as selection goes, which clip they decide to keep their case off with.
Dr. Welcher comes in. Dr. Welcher then uses this key data point, odometer 12,665, as the basis, the starting point for his determination of the locations and times for the events of January 29 of 2022. Dr. Welcher uses his scenario analysis of Miss Reed's travels, and that's detailed on slides 20.
We're going to have to skip and fast forward, get to the actual cross, because I had not realized that they addressed the court for a significant amount of time. Again, I'm not at my best today, so I'll try and go for an hour and 30 minutes. No promises. I don't feel good, but I was not going to let anybody down, because I know that I'm part of your Tuesday and Thursday routines, okay? So I came up here.
24, 25, 26, 27, and 28 to calculate and then deduct 36 miles from the odometer, according to Trooper Paul on February 1st of 2022, to arrive at an odometer reading of 12,629, which obviously is different from the start, the anchor I talked about of 12,665. So the assumed odometer of 12,629, again, is based on Trooper Paul's CARS analysis in slides 22 and 23. Are then used as a test. Took about a dozen photos of the taillight in the snow in the dark around 6 p.m. on January 29, 2022. Lieutenant O'Hara said that the CERT team never traveled back to the scene again.
Medic.
So there were very obviously no photos or images taken by the CERT team in the daylight from the drone.
Okay.
And I again refer to slides 22 and slides 23, where Dr. Welcher said it was more likely than not that it was Trooper Paul in those slides, but the point, whether it's Trooper Paul or not, is completely overwhelmed by what I just argued and presented as specific factual basis for a review, a consideration, and an adoption of the work of Trooper Paul. Unless Your Honor has any questions, I would now move on to Dr. Scorti-Bello. Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Scorti-Bello will be much shorter. Mr. Woke, do we have the slide of the Dr. Scorti-Bello it's at the end of the slide presentation with her name on it?
The TV's off,
Oh.
but I have
You just give the slide number, please.
131.
So it is slide 131. I almost know it verbatim, Your Honor, so I will continue if Ms. Gilman has slide or someone could turn it on. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. So with regard to slide 31, at the very top, and this again is a slide presentation of Dr. Welcher. So up at the very top, and so Dr. Welcher admitted that he not only reviewed the autopsy report, he admitted that he not only considered the autopsy report, he admitted that he adopted it, and I'm going to put adopt in quotes, to the extent that he used it in his slide presentation, and he actually...
Oh, I watched a bit of Judge McBurney today, and in Judge McBurney's courtroom, they were talking about the YSL trial. Not at great lengths, but it's my understanding that Whitaker is preparing to start the second trial. According to the prosecutor that was in court today, only 2 defendants are left. I think that's about it.
To show the depth of those 3 verbs, he's got in orange highlight under final diagnosis, multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. He testified, obviously, about the rear wounds of Mr. O'Keefe. He testified about how he believed those wounds came about, and he cited as corroboration the highlight of multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. It couldn't be any more obvious, his rooting in this document and reliance upon it. Why else would he have it in his slide presentation? And he's got the name of Dr. Scorti-Bello. And frankly, Your Honor, he didn't fight that whatsoever in the questioning of him. Then you go to underneath cause of death, blood impact, injuries of head, and hypothermia. He essentially repeated that on his testimony. And then if we could, Mr. Wolk, just go to the right. And so you've got highlighted head, skull fracture radiating from the right occipital skull and into the right parietal bone, right and left occipital foci, and bilateral anterior foci and orbital plates. Again, the highlighted means something. He's adopting it. And lastly, the depiction of the skull here, I believe that's Dr. Welcher's handwriting. I believe that's his green, the LR, because I've never seen this green highlighting before. And it could also be Dr. Scorty Bellows. That's another possibility. I'm not sure. But let's assume sort of the most conservative part that it's Dr. Scorty Bellows. The key part is he's got it in there and he is referencing it. So, Your Honor, the last point really for both of them, and I wanted to save this point because it applies to both. With regard to experts, the law is clear. So I think the easiest part to show what our position here is the adoption. But in it, it's clearly shown. Adoption doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You just have to put your expert hands around it, wrestle with it, deal with it. And there is no rule of law that I'm aware of that says you can't question an expert witness unless it's something that the expert witness agrees with. If the expert witness has reviewed it and considered it, and especially if they've rejected it. The easiest is obviously reviewed, considered, and adopted. But it's certainly permissible.
I need to move on.
And important proceeding. And I understand this is a new trial, but the argument is absurd. And it's antithetical to the Sixth Amendment. And even if, and this is my last point, even if this were merely a civil case, this would be routine cross-examination against the expert on the side. So in conclusion, Your Honor, I respectfully request that Ms. Reed and her team be allowed to exercise their constitutional right to cross-examination, the keystone of a defense in a criminal trial, cross-examination, and that they be able to take the shield that the prosecution is trying to put on us and be able to combat the sword that the prosecution has put forward with regard to trying to cherry pick from this information, and that we get to proceed, and we get to proceed undaunted from all the serial objections yesterday that interrupted my cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Wait, he said what? Who interrupted?
All the serial objections yesterday and we get to proceed undaunted from all the serial objections yesterday that interrupted my cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor.
Hold on, I need it one more time.
Yesterday that interrupted, get to proceed undaunted from all the serial objections yesterday that interrupted my cross-examination.
Dang.
Thank you, Your Honor.
He's pissed. All right. What is it going to start off with?
What arises from the litany of complaints by the defense is that there is no constitutional right to usurp the rules of evidence.
Okay.
There is no case law, as much as they urge the court and yell out the word case law and constitutional right and Sixth Amendment right. There is no case law to support what they are trying to do. It is a simple endeavor that is clouded by all the rhetoric that they offer. And it is clear, and the court knows what they're trying to do. They are trying to pit the inadmissible opinion of a non-testifying witness against a testifying witness. They have asked Dr. Scorty Bello what her opinion is. And although it's not consistent with our reading of the case law, they were allowed to introduce that it was an undetermined cause of death or mechanism. That evidence is already in front of the jury, but they can't simply repeat it because it sounds good to them or they think it's helpful. Simply because a witness uses a document or looks at it or uses part of an autopsy does not let them regurgitate an opinion that's already in evidence to try to phantom cross-examine an expert.
He said phantom cross-examine.
Dr. Welcher is clear. He did not rely on Dr. Scorty Bello's conclusion that this cause of death was undetermined. In fact, as an aside, he said, I wouldn't, because she's not qualified for that. And so this is a simple game. Let's pit one witness against the other and suggest that Commonwealth's witnesses are inconsistent. They take it a step further. They want to relive what they think is their past success last year in this case without actually calling the witness. They want the jury to hear their perspective that a past witness had confusion in his analysis, but they don't want to call the witness. They want you to allow them to do that, not just shouting it out and have sustained objections, which has happened this entire case, but they actually want you to be able to allow them. They want you to allow them to do.
They're taking shots at each other.
Confusion in his analysis, but they don't want to call the witness. They want you to allow them to do that, not just shouting it out and have sustained objections, which has happened this entire case, but they actually want you to be able to allow them to ask Dr. Welch these questions, which he did not rely on. We had a voir dire. He was clear. He did not rely on the analysis of Trooper Paul. He did not rely on that determination or undetermined determination by Dr. Scortibello. It is that simple. They try to throw some fluff out and they throw around some documents. We have slide 22. Simply because there's a suggestion that Trooper Paul might be the hand in the picture is not an anchor. It's not a tether. It's not an adoption. It's no such thing. In fact, if you look at that photograph, it was taken by Zach Clark. So by the rationale of the defense, they should now be able to ask Dr. Welcher any question they want about Zach Clark's opinions, efforts, what Zach Clark did. It is a photograph that he considered, not an opinion, not an analysis. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Dr. Welcher's analysis or opinions. In fact, the evidence is to the contrary. He came out, conducted an independent analysis, did all of the work himself, considered documents, and he was specific about what was part of his opinion and what was not. And this information was not part of his opinion. They turned to the Google map. Bit misleading. This was generated by Google. Two separate people used the same program, but when you look at the CARS report and you look at Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint, it's different. Dr. Welcher's has a map on the side, and when you look at the numbers themselves, the CAR report says minimum 36.1, maximum 38.8. Dr. Welcher's slide, 37.9, 38.1. So in no way did he adopt, anchor, tether, use as any basis. In fact, his is different and separate, as all of his analysis is. And so the portrayal of this necessity of information so they can sneak in inadmissible opinions with no witness is simply improper. There is no case law. There is no legal support for it. They cannot reach back into last year and manipulate a witness and ask him about something that he didn't rely on because it feels good or it sounds good for their case. Okay. Dr. Welcher did not rely on Trooper Paul's analysis or reports, and he did not rely on the conclusion of Dr. Scortibello of undetermined. If they want to call Trooper Paul, well, maybe they can try to do that, but Dr. Welch is not the right witness for it. These opinions to try to do a credit.
All right.
And then the Commonwealth say, but yeah.
The decision. Do we have a decision? Is it sidebar? What's going on? Hold on.
3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with
the glass that you depict as having been held by Mr. O'Keefe at the time of the alleged impact? Is that correct?
Well, you're mixing a couple things.
No, Dr. Welcher,
So
if you can just answer my question. If I need to rephrase it, I will. I'll ask it a different way.
Please.
You have no basis as you sit here today to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from a drinking glass connected to Mr. O'Keefe, do you?
Well, we have a picture of a broken glass at the scene. So I wouldn't say we have no basis. We don't necessarily have enough to conclude it's from it, though.
Do you had depictions in your test with
all right, that's where we're going.
Mr. O'Keefe holding a glass, correct?
Correct.
My question is
127.25.
You have no evidence to show at all other than, and I'm talking evidence, testing information. You're saying you have no evidence that shows that the glass on the bumper is not the same glass as you showed on your slides as being found supposedly created them for the Lexus on the
Before we
right.
get to
Because
127.
It's two-dimensional image, you losing some perspective. For example, here you're seeing the chrome piece on Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet, which is on the right.
Stop.
You're seeing it obviously behind where the Lexus is. So we were trying to show it at a whole bunch of different angles to try and illustrate the degree of closeness or lack thereof.
All right. So
Thank you.
is it correct that on your direct examination, you said in sum and substance, we looked at the degree of overlap and there's only about a 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap between the vehicles? Is that what you recall saying on direct?
That is correct.
And that you stated that that supposed 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap was insufficient to cause the taillight of the Lexus to contact the rear of the Chevrolet. Do you recall saying that?
That's correct.
Now, I would like you to look at that. This is from your slide presentation. Is that not showing contact between the two vehicles?
Oh, it absolutely is not. What you're seeing is a portion of the vehicle that is behind the area. Keep in mind the angle, the Lexus is angled off to the left. So the area that you see here is actually, in this case, in front of where the taillight is. This is why we tried showing it from a whole bunch of different angles, because when you try and take a two-dimensional image and look at it, you see stuff in the background. So and again, this is why in the computer, we overlaid them, looked at the measurements, in the computer where you don't have this, we have the three-dimensional measurements and it does not hit.
Where did you show in your slide presentation what you just said, that it doesn't show an overlap?
So
Where?
it shows a contact. It definitely contacted, I'm sorry, Mr. Reporter, down below here.
Order.
It does not show a contact here. So to answer your question, all the next slides were our attempt to do that.
Let's get to
They
one.
are 100% there. We actually did special hand scans with a hand scanner of the taillight to put it back on to the vehicle.
You say they're 100% there, but you can't see it in that depiction, can you? The jutting out that you could see in the two-dimensional one we just saw. You can't see it.
I can't see who's behind that wall because it's being blocked by something. I can't see on the side of the taillight because it's on the side I can't see. It's being blocked.
Sir, my question is simple. You cannot see the jutting out of the taillight in this depiction, can you?
Correct.
Okay, now let's go on to the next question in this topic.
Huh?
You could have easily solved what you consider to be the issues you had with trying to show it lining up, couldn't you, sir? You had an easy solution for that.
I took the best solution. I'm not sure what
You
you're
had
referring to.
What's the
3D
answer?
images, correct?
I did.
You could have shown and measured 3D images to get almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the
please
vehicles.
don't interrupt.
Hold on.
Your
Hold
Honor,
on.
he keeps referencing my hand and saying I'm doing something when I'm not. And I think that's
Dan,
distracting
what's
for the
going on?
I'm sorry,
Hold
point
on.
image, exact dimension.
Hold on. What is going on? Let's go back a little bit. What was the question?
I'm not sure what,
An easy solution for that. You consider to be the issues you had with trying to show it lining up, couldn't you, sir? You had an easy solution for that.
I took the best solution.
Okay.
I'm not sure what
You
you're
had
referring to.
3D images,
Solution.
correct?
I did.
You could have shown and measured 3D images
Have shown?
to get
He's saying he
almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the vehicles.
please don't interrupt.
Hold on.
Your
Hold
Honor,
on.
he keeps referencing my hand and saying I'm doing something when I'm not. And I think that's
Referencing which hand? What's going on?
distracting to the jury.
So-
I'm not interrupting
Hold
him.
on. Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing
Mr.
something.
Alessi, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer, Dr. Walker.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed the video. I showed
I
how
wish that actually showed Alessi while he's whining. You guys know I don't like whiners. I don't like attorneys that whine. Sometimes, in the words of Paige Whitaker, you just have to put your powder on, okay?
we overlaid the point cloud
Roll the
on
punch.
top of the video. That proves that
I don't
the-
get what was the hand reference though. Is that a conversation from before? Is it frustration from before? What exactly?
way
is
we
going on?
solved it, correct camera characteristics, matches. Otherwise, that would be distorted. We overlaid the scans of the Lexus into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid the scans of the scene into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid all that stuff into the analysis. We did exactly what you're suggesting.
You could have easily addressed this issue by the following. If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir,
I don't know. Like, who's the attorney? Hold on. What? Oh no.
you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir, I get to
Some graphic image or
ask the questions and you are to answer them subject to the judge's ruling. So my question is, couldn't you have created a graphic that
That's-
would have better shown
Sorry.
the issue that you are creating or talking about today? That's my question. Couldn't you have created a graphic?
We did. We created a whole bunch of graphics.
You called what we just saw a graphic?
Yes.
because graphic to me is just
Well,
an
if there's a
image.
gap, why?
That's my understanding of what a graphic is. And that's why I said from yesterday, I just, again, Alessi's questioning, I do not, again, it's a few things. I'm not sure if Alessi is misinterpreting Welch's report, does not understand Welch's report, or if his interpretation is more so in line with his expectation. Basically, it sounds like he's challenging Welcher based on what he expects the defense expert to testify to, but he's still not doing it in an effective manner. The questions themselves give Welcher a lot of wiggle room. And again, even when it comes to graphic, to me, graphic means image. So I don't know where the challenge is, but there's something going on.
Isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking.
Oh, boy.
That's why I showed it from all these different angles
What time is
to
it?
try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
What's going on here?
3D images allow you to show perspectives for 360 degrees, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So none of what you
Something.
presented in your slideshow shows the contact points
Hold on,
from
let's get
360
to
degrees, does it?
just
correct?
before.
So we have
an objection
mapped
sidebar.
the color.
Go back to the question. Where's the
You
question?
would like it zoomed in? Is a swap. So your testimony is that is a,
Can you zoom in more?
that's, you would like it zoomed in?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Your testimony is that that is a 3D image, not a Photoshop step bumper cover. Is that correct?
So we have mapped the color over the 3D scans. We used two separate scanners. If you recall, when I got out to Miss Reed's vehicle, that taillight was gone. So we had to replace the taillight.
Talking about the bumper cover, not the taillight.
Okay, I'm explaining the process.
I just asking about the bumper cover, not the process.
So focus your answer on the bumper.
That is a laser scan.
Okay, so your
That's a 3D
testimony
model.
is the step part of the bumper cover
All right, let's
is a
find another
3D image from a
timestamp.
laser scan, and it's not a Photoshop. That's your testimony.
Absolutely.
And you didn't perform the work for the 3D that you claim the bumper step up is. You didn't do that work to produce that depiction, did you, sir? Somebody
So-
else in your firm did it.
So this is all done at my direction. The engineers that work for me, so I'm telling them what to do. I'm not the one punching the keys.
That's
I'm
my
saying,
question.
I need you to do this, and this. Use the hand scanner, go scan the light. I need to put this back in because it was missing when we got to it.
Oh,
So
they're mad.
no, I'm not punching the keys.
Okay, so
Okay.
Okay,
Whatever,
sidebar.
please.
I don't see any other timestamps. I do not see any other timestamps, but let's keep going. What's going on here? I need to look at everybody. Okay. All right, let's fast forward. Oh, that was not too long.
with regard to, no, we don't need to back up, Mr. Wolf. Isn't it correct that 3D images allow for proper and most accurate measurements as opposed to 2D images? Is that a correct general statement?
I mean, generally, yeah.
Okay, that's my question. So let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about hydraulics on the Lexus SUV.
Let's see how this cross
What is
ends.
called the Bosch crash data.
Go back.
for
You
your
do? This is
VCA.
text stream information.
Are you aware of what is called the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles?
Of course, we showed it on my slides.
And the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles is sometimes referred to as the black box.
No, you're mixing up two things.
Uh-oh.
So the Bosch is
I don't know. I guess I'll have to Google that for myself. Because, hold on.
Retrieval system in Lexus vehicles is sometimes referred to as the black box.
Okay, let me Google that myself. Hold on. I could let that video keep playing, but I'm gonna get distracted. Hold on. Is it the same thing? Oh, AI says it's not the same thing. Apparently, no. A Bosch system is not the same as a black box in the context of vehicle safety. Apparently, while Bosch does produce systems that are part of what's often referred to as a black box, the black box itself refers to the event data recorder or the flight data recorder. The Bosch system is a component within the overall event data recorder or flight data recorder. There we go. Again, I'm not when it comes to a lessee, I still am undecided whether he just does not understand the context of Welch's report or if he's intentionally misinterpreting it. And I've said it before. When I say he does not understand, he does not have to agree with what Welch is saying. But in order to effectively cross-examine an expert, you have to understand what you're saying so you can either undermine it, criticize it, or critique it, whatever, break it apart, create doubt if you have to, or if you can. Under these circumstances, though, it sounds more like unless he does not actually understand, as opposed to him just being intentional in asking poorly structured questions.
No, you're mixing up two things. So the Bosch is like the
It's a
tools.
question, sir.
So can you answer that with a yes or no?
Is the Bosch crash data retrieval system the black box on Lexus vehicles? I just wanted to repeat it so we can.
I didn't hear what the objection. You objected?
I'd like him to be able to finish his answers.
Yeah. So the question was just asked. Can you answer that question?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, next question.
Well, he said it doesn't make sense. I cannot answer the question because it makes no sense. He said it's
I'm going to
not
ask the question,
sensical.
sir. The Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles, you're familiar with that? Are you familiar with it?
There is no such thing in the Lexus.
A Lexus does not have a Bosch crash data retrieval system?
No.
Have you
All right,
read?
let's go back to AI. We go back to AI. We said, I think he said Bosch. I think he said Bosch retrieval system in Lexus vehicle. Is that a thing? All right. Yes. So we go to Bosch. So AI, this is what I typed into AI. Okay. It's I typed in Bosch retrieval system in Lexus vehicle. Is that a thing? I don't know. That's a poorly structured a search phrase, but that's what I put in here. And AI says yes, a Bosch crash data retrieval CDR system are used to retrieve crash data from vehicles, including Lexus vehicles. The system accesses data stored in the vehicle's airbag control module, ACM, to provide a digital record of crash events. It's a common tool used in accident reconstruction and investigations. Okay, that's what AI is saying.
The report of Trooper Paul,
Yes.
the May 2023. Does that report not use the exact words posh? Let me ask this. Do you recall?
Yeah, the phrasing, the questioning. Okay, I think I understand what he's trying to do here. I suppose his questioning is in line with the prosecution in the sense that he's asking Welcher questions that extend beyond his report. He's asking questions that relate to other people's work. So that is easily the problem here.
The objections sustained.
Let's go to the VCH system in Lexuses. Is the VA
The VCH system, let's go. What is the VCH? Could stand for a bunch of things. VCH system in Lexus. All right, so the VCH system or vehicle control history in Lexus vehicles and also in Toyota vehicles apparently is a diagnostic and monitoring system that records and stores data related to various events and actions within the car. It essentially acts like an event data recorder, EDR, with a wider scope and different trigger events. That does not really answer our question, but okay. Okay.
VCH system intended by Lexus as a diagnostic tool for their technicians,
AI.
Lexus
I don't know about
technicians, to assist in vehicle repair and maintenance. Is that what that is created for?
That's their stated purpose.
Right. And is a synonym for VCH TechStream? Is
Sort of. TechStream, similar, like Bosch is the hardware and software to access the black box data. TechStream is the software to access, for example, the pre-collision system, the PCS system, and the VCH, which is the vehicle control
It sounds like he knows what he's doing, what he's talking about.
history. So TechStream which does a lot of other stuff, but does access that information.
You just mentioned Bosch, didn't you, sir?
So Bosch is not in the Lexus. You use Bosch stuff sold by Bosch, Bosch software and hardware, and you walk up to the Lexus with all the Bosch stuff and plug it in and download the event data recorder, the EDR, the black box. That was my problem. There is no
Understood.
Bosch stuff in the Lexus.
I understand, sir. That was going to be the question that I was trying to get to, but you've explained it, so I don't have to answer the question. Let's go to the VCH.
Oh my goodness. This cross-examination so far. Maybe this is, the trial is still ongoing. We might have another 2 weeks or so. Yeah, this is probably the worst I've ever seen Alessi do. I'm usually, listen, I don't know that there's a greater defense attorney than Alessi in that courtroom, but he's struggling a little bit.
Database that you say the stated purpose is to assist technicians at Lexus in vehicle repair and maintenance.
So I didn't say that was a stated purpose. I'm saying that's what Lexus or Toyota says is a stated purpose. It's being used in litigation all the time. All I know is that's what Lexus and Toyota says. But again, it came about right when we started seeing all the sudden accelerations in the Toyota vehicles.
So my question is the VCH database specific to Toyota and Lexus vehicles?
So
According
it's not a
to AI?
database, it's software.
Is the software specific
Oh,
to
shoot. So there's a distinction between a database and software, and you need to know the distinctions, apparently, in order to effectively cross-examine this expert.
Lexus and Toyota, the VCH?
Those particular acronyms are, yes.
Okay, let's see. What are you getting at? Are we done? I'm ready to. What time is it? I have about 15 minutes.
Want to move to another topic, and we are almost finished. We have just 2 more topics, sir.
I have a second laptop that
Here's
has
what I'm going to
TechStream.
do. That's not important for me.
Okay, what's the problem?
I would have to pull four.
Yes, full event, first recorded events were reverse recorded events. And you know what I mean by reverse recorded events?
Yes.
The vehicle going in reverse.
Right.
How many of those events were the vehicle going in reverse?
And this is before.
4. Other than
He asked
No, no,
you,
I said
is this before?
yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I would have to pull up the PCS file.
Can you start that and I can continue on with the questioning?
Somebody's infuriated.
So the PCS file is I have a second laptop that
Here's
has
what I'm going to
TechStream.
do. That's not important for me to keep going and get through it.
Okay.
So let's just stay on the events, okay?
I cannot wait for closing arguments in this case.
Only one of all of those events, those 18, are you concluding that there was a collision associated with them, correct? Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January 29, 11/62/2, you're not concluding that any of those were collisions, correct?
I didn't look at them. They were so far mileage away from everything.
But you're not concluding, even though they were so far away and you didn't look at them, you don't conclude from the information you have that any of them were a
Look
collision,
at
correct?
them, but he formed an opinion.
Let's go to
Come on, Mike, you can do better
5:07
than-
a.m. on January 29th, 2022 at One Meadows, the
How much
home
longer do they
of
have?
Mr. O'Keefe.
Okay.
There was a collision between Ms. Reed's 6,000-pound Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's 4,000.
What's the date?
Between, there was
Hold on.
that any of them were a collision, correct?
Sustained.
Let's go to 5:07 a.m. on January 29th, 2022 at One Meadows, the home of Mr. O'Keefe.
Okay.
There was a collision between Ms. Reed's 6,000-pound Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's approximately 4,500 Chevy Traverse. That's undisputed, correct? They collided. They made contact.
They touched.
Right.
He said they touched.
But the actual collision at One Meadows did not register the recording of an event on the Lexus VCH system, did it?
Correct. Too minor.
So, however, you want this jury, sir, to conclude that the glancing blow that you contend
That's not.
occurred.
I don't like the way that he's phrasing this.
At 34 Fairview Road.
Because again, he's asking the question in a way that allows the victim to, not the victim, Welcher, the expert, to explain his position. That is not the purpose of cross-examination.
By the same 6,000-pound Lexus,
And that is
in
more really of an argument.
contact with a mere 216-pound man did register an event on the Lexus, correct?
No, the impact didn't register the event. As I pointed out, the trigger was from when the accelerator pedal went to 30%. The tech stream does not register.
Yeah, and that's
crashes.
the problem. Again, he's allowing Welcher an opportunity to explain his report, to explain his investigation.
At all. It renders excessive acceleration, excessive steering, excessive braking, things like that, things that would be part of the maintenance system. So the tech stream will never register an event, even if you hit a wall at 100 miles an hour necessarily. I mean, it'll cause fault codes and things like that, but that's not what it does. The trigger here was transitioning into reverse and then gunning the accelerator pedal in reverse. And so when it went from 30 up to 74% throttle,
Unless he sit down.
once it went over 30 in that transition, that's what triggered the tech stream. It had nothing to do with,
Don't
and
know.
that's why I'm telling you, I don't know when in that event the impact occurred, because the tech stream doesn't tell you that.
Thank you. That
You're
is
welcome.
Exactly my point. The tech
I didn't know
stream
that was your point,
information
but okay.
doesn't tell you when a collision occurs, does it?
Correct.
Got it? Got it?
That's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
All right, why don't we take our morning recess, Charles?
All right. When do they come back? I'm gonna have to
Which is
give.
John O'Keefe's home.
I have 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes. I would stay much longer, but I just don't feel good. Okay. I don't feel good, but I'm here. All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brandon.
You were asked some
Actually,
questions.
it's morning, but yes.
You were asked some questions about the ring video from Meadows, which was John O'Keefe's home. And you were asked whether you're aware if the cameras had changed over time.
Correct.
The fact that the camera was replaced, does that any way affect your opinion to a reasonable degree of engineering certainty about your
Hearing out
conclusions
medical search.
relative to that touching between the cars?
Absolutely not. It would have shown up as increased error when we overlaid the point clouds onto the
He likes
photos or the point clouds onto the video. If it was an error, it would have showed an error.
Do you have any concern whatsoever that any of the information from the scan is in any way tainted, compromised, or inadequate?
That would be very hard to do. You literally press a button and stand there and watch it, and the laser does its thing. So I have absolutely no reason to disbelieve it. Additionally, again, if it was messed up, once you laid it over on top of the photograph, it would show the difference. So no, the data's fine.
Is there any evidence whatsoever that you've seen that any parts of your presentation were photoshopped?
No.
tilted him a little
You were
bit.
asked questions about the suspension of the motor vehicle of the defendant's Lexus. Do you have any information that the suspension at any point was changed?
No.
Yesterday, you were asked a number of questions about formulas. You took out your calculator and you asked about different variables. Were those variables hypotheticals or were they related to this specific case?
So they seemed hypothetical. Again, you have to be careful when you're talking about failure forces on biomechanical things. For example, if you impact the hand with a, say, 1-inch narrow metal bar, that's a lot different than if you have a broad, say, plastic taillight or rear body panel. So when you have distributed loads,
Okay.
you can take much more. I told you guys about sitting on the bed, like how much you sink in. That's an example of spreading your load out. When you spread the load out, you don't sink in as much. So same thing with, forces on your body.
Much
If
longer
you
do you have?
take this pencil,
I'll
I
give
don't
you
have to
5
press very
more
hard
minutes.
for it
I need to move to
to
this
pull in.
video.
But if I spread it out, I have to press much harder. So you have to look at the distribution of the load when you're talking about the failure. So when you look at the failure loads, it depends on what you're doing it with. If I hit you with a 5-pound 2x4 or a 5-pound
That's a lot
pillow,
of
they're both
talking.
5 pounds, but you'd much rather get hit by the pillow than the 2x4.
When you were asked questions about communications, when you would have communications with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps to secretly hide your communications? Apps like
Woo! I was not ready for that one. Woo! Hold on. Let's go back. Let's go back. I guess this is in preparation for the defense expert. Let us go back. What on earth? I was not prepared for that.
But you'd much rather get hit by the pillow than the 2x4.
All right, I'm taking down this timestamp 2:22:29 for real thing, okay? Hopefully I remember 2:22:29, 2:22:29. All right.
when you were asked questions
That-
about communications, when you would have communications with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps to secretly hide your communications? Apps like Signal?
No, I don't have any of those.
I'm surprised. I was about to say I am surprised defense is not objecting. They need to be objecting.
So the form of the question, ask it differently.
When you were communicating with members of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, did you ever use encrypted apps like Signal to communicate?
Objection, scope, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow.
Yeah, that has to
No.
come in. That has to come in. You can try hide from that defense. That is coming in. And that's why, I mean, I'll eventually get back to what is this? The Karen Reed. No, I mean, this is the Karen Reed trial. We'll eventually get back to, was it? I forgot the expert's name. Because Real Things sent me some videos, and it's best to address that during the defense case. I've recorded some videos, or shorts. I just did not get time to edit them and put them out. So, yeah, my plan was to do it today. I had not realized that getting dental work was going to pretty much alter my day, because when I got home, I was not feeling good. Like my mouth was numb and everything. So I took a nap. I napped for a little over an hour and a half, and then I had to go pick up Zeta. And then after Zeta had a food, we had to go back to the middle school, get ready for the transition to middle school. And I came here. I only had an hour, took a shower, and then I'm on the live. So, yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what that is.
What's the question?
I'm going to allow.
Oh, Signal?
No, I mean, I don't even know what that is.
Would you ever use an encrypted app so those communications couldn't be tracked?
No.
Would you ever have any reason as a professional for
Those are really, really, really good questions. And those are questions that are problematic for the defense. Because again, obviously, when their expert takes the stand, this information is going to come out. And then the jurors will have to pretty much assess who's more credible. The individual that communicated with the attorneys through encrypted applications, or the guy that dressed up as John O'Keefe. I don't know. And anyways, let's move on. You guys know I can talk forever, but I
Doing
need to
that.
get going.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
What's the question?
Would you ever have any reason as a professional for doing that?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You were asked about confirmation bias. You remember those questions?
I do.
Could I have slide 33 of your PowerPoint, please? Slide 33.
What's this? 23.
Give me a second.
It's only about 10 minutes. Maybe I can stay another 10 minutes. But I need to get going. I'll stay another 10 minutes. Oh.
33.
You could zoom that in, please. A little larger so we can see it.
I cannot do it with one monitor.
You can't do it any closer than that?
Not since I took down. Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go. Which part do you want me to zoom in?
Miss Gilman can zoom in for you.
Sorry? Which part?
Miss Gilman's going to do it for you.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
I'm considering whether I should come up here tomorrow. We'll see. I probably will. Let me think that through, okay? But there is a possibility. No, I'm going to commit to that now, okay? I'll be live tomorrow, probably much later though, because I have laundry to do. Yeah, I'll come up here. Let's do it we can start early. I don't want to stay up too late. We can do it for maybe 7:30. I'll schedule the live. But we have to, again, I did not get an opportunity to actually see the substance of Dr. Welch's actual tests. So let's do that tomorrow. So my weekend is free. I don't want to do too much over the weekend.
If you could zoom in, please. Okay. On shift position signal, going forward, then neutral and reverse. Does that data suffer from confirmation bias?
No, that's strictly electronic data.
When we look over at the vehicle speed, can we go to the
He
left
said
a little bit?
suffer from confirmation bias.
Down. Vehicle speed ending at 2361 miles per hour. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, again, these are direct readings from the vehicle. Again, that speed on this here, you have to correct for the slippage, which I do later on in the slide, but that is a direct reading from what the speedometer is seeing.
Acceleration at the end of that 10-second window,
Alexa,
74%. Does that suffer from confirmation bias?
No, that's a direct reading of a sensor. It's
Jeez.
objective information.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
So is that it?
Anything, Mr. Lessie?
Your Honor.
All right. That was a pretty short redirect. I guess Brennan did not.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, you were just asked questions.
Just like this motherfucker again. You can. I mean, I'm making this up. I don't know that you can see actual stress on his face. I'm just gonna go back to see, because I believe his expressions have remained the same throughout.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Wow. Did somebody say
Anything?
wow?
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know if they're impressed or surprised, but there's something.
Anything, Mr. Lessie?
Your Honor.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, you were just asked questions about slide 33, which is the slide about text stream data. You acknowledge that text stream data, what you've called a trigger, like was on that slide, does not tell you if a collision even occurred, correct?
Correct.
That's a good question.
With regard to the topic of confirmation bias that you were just asked about in slide 33, am I correct that all of the questions that Attorney Brennan just asked you were
Just
about
ask your question.
data on that slide, correct? All that's on that slide is data, correct?
Now, he asked me more questions than just this slide.
But were the questions just about data?
On this slide, it was
Let's
just about
stop.
data.
Correct. But confirmation bias is really aimed at opinions and conclusions and alternative hypotheses. Isn't that what confirmation bias gets at?
Yes,
So-
that's part of it.
Generally, yes. Again, I started this case with
It was
the
just a question.
hypothesis,
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
that the Lexus didn't contact Mr. O'Keefe. And so I start what's called the null hypothesis, that this didn't happen. And then I look at evidence to either include or exclude the null hypothesis. So theoretically, my confirmational bias starts with a bias that it didn't happen.
Can you point to one document that shows that you analyzed whether there was no contact between the Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe? Can you point to one document? Was there one document on your slide presentation, for example, that analyzed the null hypothesis as you call it, there being no contact at all?
He's ready
Was
to
there
respond.
any slide in your direct testimony?
So remember what I said, we start with hypothesis, we get more data,
How much
we
longer
whittle down
do you
our
get
hypothesis to the final answer. I mean, I had 130 slides. I suspect I bored some of these people to death already. So I didn't include everything. There's thousands of photographs in here. There was a bunch of testing I did with the Lexus.
So, I don't know. Leslie starts off with a really good question and it just gets lost somehow.
About backing, pedestrian detection, that, removed certain hypotheses. So if I was able to eliminate a hypothesis, I didn't present it here.
Sir, my question is not about your.
All the slides show that, to answer your question.
Sir, my question is there any slide that says alternative hypothesis to whatever the label is, whatever the term, that says,
I suppose either tomorrow or Monday, we find out if the prosecution's resting or not. I don't even know who they would put on the stand after Welcher. Who could they possibly, unless they cannot put Karen Reed up there, unless the mom or the father or somebody else. I don't know why. That would be a bad move for the prosecution, because those people are not going to testify favorably. But
no contact between the Lexus vehicle and Mr. O'Keefe. Is there any document that you presented to the jury that shows that?
Any document where those words are written on it?
Correct.
No.
And to work through hypotheses, different ones, in confirmation, and to see whether there's confirmation bias, have you heard of scientists refer that as showing your math, so to speak, in working through hypotheses, documenting each hypothesis and
Scientists?
how and why you rejected them? Have you heard of that term in the scientific world, show your math with confirmation biases and alternative hypotheses? Just a question. Have you heard the idiom, the phrase, show your math?
Your question is, have I ever heard show your math, period?
Associated with the application of various hypotheses to avoid confirmation bias. Have you heard of that term used in that conjunction?
Not really in that
Okay.
context. It's probably, I understand where you're going with it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
No further questions.
no, that cannot be how you end the crow, the recross.
Welcher, you were awesome.
Oh my God, thank you.
He's funny. He's really funny.
Dr. Welcher, you are all set.
Oh my God, thank you.
He's really funny.
Give me a minute to pack up and I will be out of here.
He's trying to go home. He's trying to go back to California.
Oh, I am plugged in. Yes, thank you.
He's funny. Oh, come on, what's happening? What time is it? Oh, I need to go. Oh, I need to
Very much.
go. You said what?
I'll do this out there. May I step down? Your Honor?
Yes, you can. Thank
Pleasure
you
to
very
meet you.
much.
Okay, Brennan, what are you about to do? Who's up there with a disc? I'm sorry, I need to go back because I need to look at everybody's expressions. As I was going to call it the well. The well is really, I suppose, where these people are sitting. All right, let's go into the podium. They're all looking at him. Dang, they're all literally.
Commonwealth moves to introduce and play clip 26.
Okay, hold on. I just need to look at the expressions one more time. All eyes on him. All right.
Commonwealth moves to introduce and play clip 26.
Okay. All right. What is she saying now?
So I thought, could I have run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going.
I believe we listened to this together. I think we listened to this one together. Yeah. That is incredibly stupid. This is just so stupid.
So I thought, could I have run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. Did he come and hit the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired David Unetti, I asked him those questions the night of January 29th. Like, David, what if, I don't know, what if I ran his
What the hell? There's attorney-client privilege for a reason. Okay, so I suppose it's her privilege. So she decides to waive the attorney-client privilege. I just do not know what's going to come out of Karen Reed's mouth right now. And it makes me nervous, but here goes nothing. Now let's just go back one more time because I'm just not prepared for what Karen Reed's about to say. I'm not prepared for it. Again, I have never seen attorneys put their clients in front of the cameras the way that it has happened here.
So I thought, could I have run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. Did he come and hit the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired David Unetti, I asked him those questions the night of January 29th. Like, David, what if, I don't know, what if I ran his foot over or what if I clipped him in the knee and he passed out or went to care for himself and he threw up or passed out? And David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Wait, what?
And he threw up or passed out or
I don't know what the hell's going on here.
went to care for himself and he threw up or passed out? And David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Oh, girl, why did your attorneys put you in front of the cameras? So this is basically Karen Reed telling the docuseries that her attorney advised her that if she actually clipped this man, then she has some element of culpability. This is just, why are you doing all this talking? I need to listen to this mess one more time. One more time, because I don't know that I'm going to see this ever again.
So I thought, could I have run him over? Did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting.
This is
Did
incredible.
he come and hit the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or something? And then when I hired David Yannetti, I asked him those questions the night of January
I would
29th.
love
Like,
to see
David,
this.
what if, I don't know, what if I ran his foot over or what if I clipped him in the knee and he passed out and or went to care for himself and he threw up or passed out? And David said, yeah, then you have some element of culpability.
Wow. Wow. I would have loved to see Karen Reed and Yannetti's expressions.
So the 207?
Wow. That's a lot of talking.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth rests.
Ooh, so the Commonwealth rests. Okay, the Commonwealth rested. So they're done. They're done. We need a recap. We need a recap of the Commonwealth's case. They're done. And that's how they I suppose that's how they tie the bow on their presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Does council want to see me?
We do, Your Honor.
Okay, so should we send the jury out or should?
Probably, yes.
So
Okay.
jurors, so everybody can sit. So jurors, the Commonwealth rests. That means that the Commonwealth's case has been presented.
What? So are they gonna hit us with a motion for a directed verdict, or what exactly are they doing?
Presented to you for your consideration. So I need to meet with the lawyers for a few minutes, so we're going to send you back out. I can tell you that it now appears that we're at least on schedule, if not a little ahead of schedule. So we'll send you back out for a short.
Wow. Right. Going.
Right. Can council come to sidebar, please?
All right. Let's get into it. I need to go. Like, it's past my bedtime. Okay. Dang, they rested. Okay, come on.
All right, so jurors, we all, it happens several times a day, doesn't it? So we don't want to waste anybody's time. I know we've spent a lot of time at sidebar and we've had times that we've kept you in the deliberation room because we've been trying to sort through everything, trying to make this trial as efficient as possible, but also honoring and respecting all the hard work of the lawyers that's gone into preparing this trial. So sometimes I do understand that it's frustrating for you. But today we were able to spend some time this morning. I know we kept you in there almost half an hour and we've just spent some time now. So I can tell you that we are ahead of schedule right now. I still need to talk to the lawyers about something tomorrow morning. So we're going to send you home now and have you come back tomorrow morning at 9:30 because today I know we kept you until 9:30 and it doesn't make any sense where I already know I need to talk to the lawyers tomorrow morning to have you here for a 9 o'clock start. So tomorrow will be a full day and we'll have you here ready to start at 9:30. Okay, so those same cautions.
All right.
Please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about the case, please disregard it and let us know. And also, please continue to be careful with your social media use. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Rise the jury.
Leslie,
Back here.
I'm not allowing in the line of.
I'm going back here a little bit to the judge's decision. Baby, the state, the prosecution, the people, they have rested. Tomorrow, I would expect a motion for directed verdict. Oftentimes, attorneys do, even though most of the times they don't succeed. Fair enough. The defense could pretty much just proceed with the defense case, but that would be problematic unless they want to leave that as a potential avenue for redirect. But based on the case law, again, every state is different. But I have once came across a case that dealt with ineffective assistance of counsel. And again, sometimes the cases are specific to facts. But as far as the facts of that case were concerned, I believe it was the appellate court, and they ruled that the attorney's failure to make a motion for a directed verdict was in effective assistance of counsel. So sometimes, or I guess the most of the times, the attorneys do make the motion for a directed verdict, even if it's not going to succeed, in order to, exhaust all of a criminal defendant's rights. But let's get into this.
He keeps
I guess I missed the decision portion because I just could not find it.
saying something that's not happening, that we're going to attack the credibility of Trooper Paul. What we want to do is to say to Dr. Welcher, you have brought up Trooper Paul. You have used his odometer reading. That odometer reading tethers through to Google. It tethers through everything you're doing. It's the foundation. But what you're ignoring, Dr. Welcher, are all the key cycle results that come from that odometer reading that you relied upon. Dr. Welcher himself can't cherry pick, grab things that he needs from Trooper Paul to do his analysis, and then the Commonwealth say, but you can't go after that because it somehow has Trooper Paul's name on it. It's illogical, Your Honor, and it's incorrect under the law. Thank you.
Okay.
So I disagree with you, Mr. Alessi. I'm not allowing in the line of questioning regarding Trooper Paul, and I'm not allowing the line of questioning regarding Dr. Scorti-Bello. So that's my ruling. Let's bring the jury in.
Well, apparently, Alessi says Bev Canoni is illogical and she doesn't know the law. But I do agree with the ruling. Okay. I agree with the ruling. So let's reconvene tomorrow. I'm going to schedule the live right now. I'm going to schedule it for 7 p.m. We might have to start later. We might have to push it back, but I think it makes sense for me to just schedule it for 7 so we can have that time reserved. Tomorrow I will not be watching live because I have a lot that I have to get through as far as my job is concerned. But I do want to go back. Tomorrow we're gonna start off briefly by taking a look at Dr. Welcher's experiment. We're going to start off there. And then we're going to, I don't know how tomorrow goes for defense, but we hop into that. And that's why we're starting early, because by starting around 7-ish, that should give us 3-4 hours to get through everything that we need to get through. Okay. All right, folks, you guys have a fantastic Friday. We'll reconvene tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's a flexible time though, because if I do have to push it back, then I will. And then I have recorded some Diddy stuff. I've also recorded a Karen Reed video. I just need to edit. So probably, what time is it? No, it's 10:20. I'm not editing right now. I'll probably edit in the morning. My plan is to at least have one shorts out. Okay. All right. Let us reconvene tomorrow. That's all right, Benji. Benji, do your job. Shout out to the replay crew. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll reconvene tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. All right. Bye.